My makeup journey has come a long way, and one thing I've learned is I can always trust Anastasia Beverly Hills with my eyebrows. I'm using the Anastasia Brow Freeze and this spoolie to shape and lay down my brows. This spoolie comes from my Black Butterfly set that I sold back in 2020. And the Anastasia doesn't stop there. I'm taking the Duchess Angle Brush and the Pomade Dip Brow from Anastasia Beverly Hills in order to define my eyebrows. I'm convinced I'm a pomade girl. I've tried other products, but this is always home. Win Beauty has become one of my favorite concealers since it hit the market. I love the consistency and how it blends, and it came in my perfect shade in order to highlight and shape my brows. Makeup has truly been a journey for me because it started out as a hobby, having fun, doing looks that I normally wouldn't go outside with, but just for the art of it. I normally don't do this, but I'm using that foundation brush in order to blend out the concealer on underneath my eyebrows. I've been using the Laura Mercier primer. It's a moisturizing primer and I'm really enjoying it. It's been a few months, and on my actual eyelid, because it dries down very good, I've been using the Urban Decay Quickie Concealer, and right here I'm blending it out with the flat fluffy brush from the Duchess brush set. Not something I would normally do, but for this video, it's working out. It allows me to shape the concealer in the shape that I want the eyeshadow to be in. I don't feel like I'm using my Urban Decay Bond Foundation enough. I know that when I start putting it on, it looks a little scary because it doesn't match, but it actually dries down perfectly. And I can use my concealer on top and it just blends in and melts into my skin. It's a medium coverage foundation, so to me that's like the best of both worlds. It's heavier than a foundation, but yet it's lighter than a full coverage foundation. It's Win Beauty for the highlight, and I normally would put my concealer on underneath, but this particular concealer blends in perfectly with the Urban Decay foundation. And I'm using that angled stipple brush in order to blend the concealer out and make sure that it spreads everywhere it needs to be. I really love how the Urban Decay foundation and the Win Beauty concealer work together. As for the contour, I went in first with the Quickie concealer. I feel like I could go a shade darker, but in the same token, I feel like this shade was perfect because once I add on my bronzer, everything just came together beautifully. And I'm using my foundation brush in order to blend the concealer and make sure there are no harsh lines. I saw this hack on one of the platforms where you add pressed powder on top of your concealer before adding your translucent powder in order to set your under eye makeup, and it helps to reduce the creasing. My eye bags have been an issue, but I can say that the hack really does help. I'm still using Colored Rain bronzer, even though I have a few brands that I want to try out, and I'm removing all of the excess powder and blending in my concealer using the dome shaped brush from the Duchess brush set. All of the makeup girlies are definitely buying the trending makeup, so we need a new brush set. And I kept going with Urban Decay. This is their liquid hydrating blush. I like the color. I felt like it blended right into my skin perfectly, but then I messed it up. I'm not sure how I'm using this, but it's a highlighter that I feel I need to just use as a blush, but that almost messed everything up. For my eyeshadow, I went in with the Celestial Odyssey palette by Pat McGrath using 3 colors. The first color was a dark chocolate shade in order to go in my outer corner, and I used the fluffy angle brush from the Duchess brush set in order to give shape and make sure everything was blended out nice and smooth. This brush set was selected in order to complete a full face of makeup and not need another brush. Of course, occasionally we have to delve into other sets, but far few and in between. And then I use this milk chocolate shade in order to continue giving shape to my brow and to diffuse the dark chocolate shade. In my inner corner and on my eyelid, I used a champagne shimmer shade, which is not showing as beautifully as it does in person. But I absolutely love the way Pat McGrath shadows pack on the eyelid, and even whenever you are blending them out, you don't lose pigmentation. And then I use the Essence Precision Liner. It never misses. I consider this a staple product that I purchase over and over again for less than $5. The Pat McGrath liner glides on smoothly and very dark. And then I use the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On liner so that it keeps the Pat McGrath liner in place 24 hours out of the day. Even though I don't wear it 24 hours, it will not budge, I promise you. I had 3 choices, but Boss Lady Lippy by the Lip Bar was chosen and did not disappoint. I love how you have the control of putting the lippy on and it doesn't dry down too fast, where you still have some control in order to shape before you get that beautiful mattifying finish. Boss Lady is one of my all-time favorite red lippies. I am my worst critic, but I gave this look 5 stars. I did go back in to put some blue, a pop of blue in my waterline. I do not recommend using this flat detail brush. It put the shadow where I needed it to be, but I needed a smudge brush in order to just make it nice and smoked out. I also went into the Celestial Nirvana palette for that blue shadow. It was really a great makeup day. I used Pat McGrath mascara in order to give myself some noticeable lashes. I have not worn falsies in a while, and this particular mascara gives me length and volume. I love it. And then lastly, I finally emptied one of my favorite products, the Urban Decay All Nighter Extra Glow Spray. And I just sprayed it to the bitter end because I knew that it was the last of the last. But not the last, because I will be repurchasing.